What's up, fellow Earthlings? Welcome to the Roundtable Talk with Austin Hiers.
Richard the Little Man.
Manny.
Alright guys, we're fixing to talk about some lessons you can learn through experience. And only through experience. Is nothing that somebody can teach you. I'll let them tell the story because I wasn't there. But I'll tell you my part of the story once they get to the part where you called me and let me know.
So the other day we went to this job and we didn't know if it was going to be a job that started right away or it was just going to be an estimate for them. And we get there and it was on the 5th floor of this nice condo, and we walk upstairs and the guy's sitting there and he's just telling us, he's like, all right, this is going to be all the stuff that you're going to have to remove and everything. And we're like, all right. So we get up to the apartment and we walk in and they had some of the tile floors torn up. They had some of the doors ripped off. They had the bathroom starting to get gutted out, and they were just starting to demo the whole condominium. And I started looking through it and everything, and I was taking pictures of everything, and like I asked him specifically, like, was this going, and he told me like certain things weren't going, so I didn't add those onto the estimate. Well, we came through and I felt like what I gave him was a good solid estimate. And I mean, granted, I could have probably added a little more, but I felt like it was a good solid estimate. Well, we left the job, he agreed on it, and we set it up for a couple days later. We came back a couple days later, and this was yesterday. We walk up there, and I noticed that right off the bat, they took the bathroom out that they said they weren't gonna take out. And it was all included in the pile of stuff we were removing. And right then and there, I should have stopped. And this is the lesson that I learned. I should have stopped right then and there, and I should have said, hey, you added more to it. But I didn't. We continued working, and we had a time frame of only 2.5 hours, 3 hours tops to get everything out and down in the trailer, down the five stories, and have the apartment clean before they shut the elevators off. So me and Manny we started humping tile. We got it all out, and we swept the room, on to the next room, got that whole room out, and we had one pile left, and it was 2 hours in, and the dumpster was 3/4 of the way full. And I approached the guy and I said, look, sir, like, the deal is you added this on. It wasn't agreed to be added on originally, and I feel like it's more, and we're gonna have to increase the price some. Right off the bat, he told me no. He said, I said this was the price, and that was what I was sticking to. Even though our soft estimates that we give are just an estimate, I mean, it can increase, but usually, our estimates are pretty right on.
And just real quick, by definition, an estimate is taking a guess. That's exactly what it is. We take a guess at what it's going to be, and then we let you know in the end what it is. And usually we are dead on. We are perfect with our prices. I mean, not perfect, but we're, I would say 95%, and this is one of the 5% that we were off, or Richard was off, and then the person added stuff on. So I just wanted to tell you the definition of estimate. So
we kept on pumping the stuff. After he said no, I was like, I got kind of discouraged, and I was like, you know what, whatever, let's just get this done. We'll eat the $650, and we'll figure it out from there. Well, we started humping. Manny got tired, I got tired, and I'm like, all right, we're just gonna keep pushing. Now we only literally have 35 minutes to go, and like, we have to be out of this apartment. And so I'm like, all right, like, here's the deal, like, either we're not gonna finish this, or we're gonna hump it, and I'm gonna have to call Austin. He's gonna, like, something's gonna have to change. So I called Austin. Austin told me, he said, look, like, we have to charge more because it's taking longer. There's more labor incentive that wasn't accounted for. And because they added the more stuff, obviously the price is going to go up. So you just need to tell them that and be firm with them. So I walked back upstairs and I told him, I said, look, sir, like, I talked to my boss and he told me that the price is obviously going to increase because there is more stuff. There's more labor included. I told him that it was probably going to go up about $150. Maybe 200, right in that range, which was a fair price still to get all this stuff out. And he looked at me and said, no, he's not doing it. And at that point I was like, okay, well, now I have to go back and tell Austin that he said no, and we still have to finish this. And the whole time the clock's ticking. So like, now we're down to like 22 minutes or so. And I told Manny, I said, look, like, I told this guy this is what happened. I went downstairs, I called Austin, I said, look, like, this guy said to give him a call and you guys can sort it out, but I'm gonna keep humping this stuff so that way we're not stuck here for another day trying to get this done and having to come back. So me and Manny kept humping it, and I'll let Austin go in to tell you exactly what happened between him and the guy, and then I'll come right back to you and tell you the end of the story.
Right. So, yeah, Richard called me and was like, yeah, this guy straight up said he's not paying. He's not gonna pay the amount that we're worth. And that is where, like, you know, it just upsets me because, you know, we apologize for maybe being halfway done with it and not telling him up front exactly when we walked in, like, hey, this is more, because we didn't really realize that it was that much more. It ended up just being so many trips. I don't know if you told them that you were going in an elevator.
No, I didn't say no.
Man, they were on the 6th floor.
We were on the 5th floor.
5th floor.
Going in an elevator, and the way the elevator worked, there was 2 elevators, but one elevator always returned to a certain floor, and the other elevator always returned to a certain floor. So whenever you got off your elevator, if you weren't right back on the elevator, it went back down to the floor. So if we had a wheelbarrow, we'd walk over, drop the wheelbarrow off, and I'd walk away with another wheelbarrow. I had to wait 5 minutes, and I'm not kidding. I mean 5 minutes for this elevator to come back up to the floor if it didn't have to go down to pick somebody else up first. So it was a really awkward situation in the elevator.
Yeah, so working with that elevator, it's small pieces of tile. This is not like moving furniture or anything that's simple. Even moving carpet is so much easier than this. Tile is something that's difficult. They have wheelbarrows to move it, as well as trash bags, but it's just, you can only fill a trash bag up so much, or even a trash can. So wheelbarrow is the best option to move the most. And anyway, the guy calls me, and I called the customer, and I let him know, hey, you know, this is Austin with Let It Go. I just talked to Richard on the phone, and he says we're having some issues with what the payment's gonna be. And I just explained to him that what was going on and why it happens and what an estimate is, because he's like, oh, I own a contracting company and I give estimates all the time and I stick right to my estimate. And it's like, all right, there's a difference, guys. I mean, if you're in business and if you're gonna come at me with something like that, there's a quote and there's an estimate, and a quote is something that he's talking about. He gives estimates. He should be giving quotes if he's sticking to. We typically stick to our estimates. Like I said, we're spot on majority of the time, but when we're not, that's why we call it an estimate, guys, because we can't be perfect. If it's spread out in this room and that room and this room and that room, and anybody that does junk removal, comment down below if you agree with me. That's just pretty wild that a customer would kind of like do this to us.
I mean, I think the biggest problem on it too, and like I expressed to Manny, was I get like where my quote was, and like I told you, like I felt my quote was solid, and the reason I felt like it was solid was because there was still stuff that wasn't done.
Right.
You know, so like it was even, I feel like it was even more hard, like even harder.
Yeah.
For me to quote that, because they tore up more floor.
Right.
And then they also tore up the thin set and everything else.
Right.
As well as something I didn't mention to you. They were working the whole time we were doing it.
Right.
So
yeah,
they're constantly making the mess. Like we clean a room and we go right back in and there's stuff in the room. And I didn't go back in those rooms to clean those rooms.
Yeah, mind you, they did a good job putting everything, setting in the pile, putting everything
until
together.
They started tearing stuff back
exactly.
down.
But if you noticed, like, I don't know if you looked at the pictures, when he did the estimate, like I told you, there was stuff spread out throughout the apartment. So it wasn't all in a pile at first.
Right.
So when you were taking a picture, it was like, all right, this doesn't look bad. So I'm gonna be cleaning this up first, this area.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna go here and clean up this. It didn't look that bad.
Right.
But when they put it all together, and it was like, holy cow, this is tile. Most of this is tile.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's difficult. It's really difficult for us to judge it sometimes, and we're not perfect beings. So as much as I like to say we're really, really good at giving our estimates and sticking to it, the customer was on the phone with me. I know we keep getting sidetracked, but he was on the phone with me saying I'm not paying anything over $700, and I ended up getting pretty upset. We got into it a little bit, but I was letting him understand, or letting him know that I understand him and where he was coming from, but at the same time, we're gonna get paid what we're worth, and you're telling me right now that we're not worth any more than $700 for this job. And I wanted to tell him so many things, but I didn't. So this is a lesson learned, you know. Obviously, let's overestimate. I like to overestimate and deliver a lower price in the end. That way they're even happier, or stick to that high estimate when we need to. So we're gonna just start estimating our jobs just a little bit higher, so that way we can't get stuck in this situation at all. And even if we do when we get to that point where you're like, I feel like there's more, we just kind of talk to the customer and be like, listen, this looks like more, and then before we get started today, I'm gonna let you know that this is gonna be $1,000 compared to the 700 or whatever price change you're having. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that was a good lesson for all of us, and we use that lemon and we turn it into lemonade, right? Yeah, and we go forward with it. And
I don't think another 2 people could have did that job in 3.5 hours.
Yeah. I think between the 3 of us, that would have been it. Nobody else would, as quick as we did it.
Right. Now these guys hustled on that job, and they were worth way more than the 700 that guy paid, and it pisses me off knowing that.
We weren't just demoing an apartment too. We had to also go back and clean up. Basically, we had to clean up a lobby, an elevator,
sweeping the lobby and the elevator off.
So
wow.
It was kind of a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And we even went above and beyond. They swept the lobby and the elevator, guys.
Yeah. But anyway, I was gonna finish this. Finish the story.
Yeah.
Tell you guys how it ended.
What? Yeah.
So, Austin talked to the guy. I went upstairs, and when we were working before everything happened, the guy would communicate with me. After they talked, he didn't say a word to me. Everything they said was in Spanish. Well, mind you, I have someone that speaks Spanish, so he knew everything that they were saying. So we walked to the elevator, and he told me, he's like, look, they're not really talking shit or talking crap, but they're talking about. But they're talking about how they feel like I kind of was trying to screw them over by charging them a higher price once we already started, and how that's not how you do it and everything. And I didn't understand any of that, what they were saying, but he did, so he informed me of that. And so we kept on working, and mind you, when Austin finished talking to the guy, we only had 15 minutes to go. And we still had about 3 wheelbarrows full of stuff to come down 5 flights, and we still had about 15 rolls of carpet to go. So I told 25 rolls of carpet to go. So I told Manny, I said, look, I'm gonna start trucking the stuff down the elevator and getting it to the dumpster, so that way everything's downstairs. You just come behind and get everything cleaned up and get it to the elevator. So that's what we did. Literally, I mean, I never left the elevator. He would get everything to the elevator. I'd get everything out of the elevator and into the lobby, so that way all we had to do is go from the lobby to the trailer. Well, now it's 5 o'clock and I can hear the church bell across the street going off, and I'm like, great, it's 5 o'clock. We still have 10 more pieces of carpet to go, and we still got to sweep everything out. So I was like, look, just keep working, keep going. When they come and tell us to stop, we're gonna have to stop. Well, the guy walked over and he just kind of looked at me and he didn't say anything, so we just kept on working, and I thought everything was fine, and it was. So I mean, we got the job done.
Okay, well, I wonder how much video we got. Let's finish the video up on here. Alright guys, let's just stand here for a second. We're gonna give a shout out right here, boys, right here on the top of the screen. Point up there. Yeah. Thank you guys for subscribing to my channel, especially this person. We don't know who you are, but this person right here.
You'll be right here somewhere, right here, whoever you are.
All right.
Somewhere.
So yeah, our GoPro died. Our GoPro died during the video, guys, and I hope that we got majority of that story. This video is about lessons learned. Just learn from the mistakes you make, and take a lemon, make it into lemonade. Keep hustling. These boys are amazing. Shout out to Richard and Manny here. Comment Richard and Manny down below if you guys love Richard and Manny. All right.
We should get 100.
Yeah,
loves.
100 comments. We need 100 comments saying Richard and Manny. Please give me to 100 comments, and I'll give away another $50 to one of you guys commenting Richard and Manny, for sure.